Our next speaker is the most dynamic, charismatic, magnetic, inspiring, motivating. He's the world famous from Southwest Chabad Coral Springs. Please welcome Rabbi Denburg.
Good morning, good morning. So this Buddhist monk is in Manhattan. He stops to buy himself a hot dog. He's at the hot dog stand, he gives a $10 bill for the $3 hot dog. He gets the ketchup, the mustard, the sauerkraut. He's patiently and serenely waiting for the change he's supposed to get for his $10 bill. He's waiting, calm, zen, relaxed. But the hot dog vendor's already giving the other people. He's serving next, serving the next person, the next person. And this Buddhist monk who's waiting for his change for his hot dog is waiting and waiting, doesn't say a word. But he realizes eventually that this hot dog vendor is not planning on giving him change. He's busy, giving everybody else their hot dogs. So finally, he musters the courage from within himself. He says, "My change." And the hot dog vendor looks at him with a serious face and says, "My friend, change must come from within." So Peter asked me to speak about embracing change. That was the job I was given to address today. And change is coming. Like it or not, the world is always changing. Technology is always changing. But in the last 2 years, the world has changed in so many unbelievable, drastic ways. Some that are fantastic, some that we may argue are not so great, but the world has changed so much. I was just speaking to a commercial real estate investor yesterday. He's telling me he loves it. He used to have to travel a whole day for a 1-hour meeting, come home late at night. Now you get on Zoom for an hour and you're home with your kids afterwards. So there's good change. I was speaking to someone else this week who's into virtual reality. And soon you won't even have to get on the Zoom meeting. You have this virtual feeling as if you're sitting at the table in a board meeting. Is that a good change? We can debate it. But the change is coming. So how do we embrace it? How can we become part of that change and move forward and embrace the change that's coming? And so I was thinking about a story in history that happened 2,200 years ago. And how that has a lesson for us. 2,200 years ago, in ancient Israel, there was a group of people called the Maccabees. You may have heard of them. This week is the week of Chanukah. It's an amazing story. Very briefly, for those who may not know, the Greeks had taken over the land of Israel. The Greeks had taken over the temple, and instead of being a holy temple the way the Jews wanted, they brought in idols, they brought in many immoral acts were done in this temple, and they had taken over. And a small group of Maccabees, the Jews, that went to the hills, and they were fighting for religious freedom, for independence from the Greeks. And after many years of battle, this small group of Maccabees managed to reclaim the temple. They come back in, they get rid of the idols, they get rid of all the other stuff that's there, they clean up the mess that had been the vandalized synagogue, the temple that was, and now they want to light the candelabra, the menorah. But there's no oil, right? Another story, and then they search and they find one jug of oil, and that oil burns for 8 days. How does this story have relevance for us, the business community, sitting here wondering how to embrace the change of virtual reality, whatever other changes that we can't even fathom are coming our way? So what many people don't realize about the miracle of the oil burning for 8 days is not that they found the oil burning for 8 days. You know what the first part of the miracle was? That the Maccabees searched for oil. They searched. They could have very easily, quite understandably, have given up and said the change has come, and that's it. We surrender to what now is. This is a new reality. The temple has been changed, the Greeks have taken over, and we have to just go with the flow. And when you adapt that mentality, of course you're scared of change, because to go with the flow basically means you lose yourself. And that's why so many resist change, because we're afraid of losing who we are in this new changing reality. The Maccabees, they lived a long time ago, but their message is very clear to us. The Maccabees, It's not that they resisted change. The Maccabees knew exactly who they were inside. They were so certain of their core identity, of their core values, of their core message. Today in business, you have to know, what are your core values? What's your core message? What's your core brand? They were so sure of their core identity, so sure of who they were, that even when the circumstances around them were completely different than they had been just a few years before, there was nothing recognizable about the temple then from what had been before the Greeks came. Almost like pre-COVID and post-COVID. They didn't recognize the world that they were now in, and because they were so certain of their own internal light, of who they were, of what their core identity was, they were able to search despite the change in circumstances around them. It's a big message here. Change does not come from within. The change is coming from without. And the change is coming whether we're ready for it or not. The change will be here. And the change will constantly continue to change. But what comes from within is who we are. We come from within ourselves. Our core identity, our core values, our core message. What is my mission in the world? What is my inherent talent? What is my calling? What is my passion? When we have a true conviction and a true awareness of who we are, of the light that we possess, of what we are meant to be doing, then no matter how much the circumstances and the environment around us changes, our light will continue to shine. And so change does not come from within. Change comes from without. But our light, our ability to shine no matter what's going on around us, our ability to continue being we, despite how much the way the world does business changes, our ability to continue being us and to be our core values, our core who we are and what we're good at and what we are meant to do in the world, that will continue to shine. As long as it's within us, it will continue to shine no matter how much change happens outside. Let's be a light, let's continue shining, and we'll always shine no matter what. Thank you. Thank you.